Welcome back to the Wealth Juice podcast. As always, it's your boys, Ryan and Corey, here with another episode for you. Today, we're going to talk about the balance of entrepreneurship and having a family. So work-life balance versus integration. And we were posed with this question. The specific question is like, how do you balance being an entrepreneur and then also being present and having a family? For example, like potentially having kids, a significant other, and like other people that rely on you, but then also this business that relies on you as well to be fully present. So it's a very interesting question. I think a lot of people struggle with this, and I don't think there's an exact answer or science to it, but we're going to kind of take you through our approach. And I want to talk about your family's not just your significant other or your kids. Like you also, some people have parents, some people have siblings, cousins, whatever that might be, but your family is your family, right? You don't get to choose them. You're born with them, and then you just kind of navigate the seas over the years. So we'll dive into this. I didn't know if you had any thoughts initially, Cora, to kind of this whole work-life balance mantra, if you will, or like family integration balance within entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I don't really necessarily believe in work-life balance. I think it is work-life integration and bringing those people into the fold. But also what it has made me realize is that we don't really, our real estate is self-sustainable because we have property managers and we have people managing that. Like we're not in the day-to-day on that, and that's great. But we're not really like full business owners on our other on our Instagram and our podcast and our our social media and our coaching. Like we're solopreneurs. Like the business cannot run without us right now. So we're not, it's like funny we say we're business owners, and we are, but we're tied very deeply into the business. So it's not like we can escape that proverbial, it's its own rat race in a way. And I think that's fine because you have to spend your time doing something. And if you spend your time doing something that you really enjoy, then it's like, great. Even though you're not like just overseeing it from a CEO level, like I think there'll be elements of that we get to, but there's not like a clean line and a clean break. And I think that I was having this conversation with my fiance the other day, and she's like, I love working a 9 to 5. And it's not like she won't do anything after hours. She was working till 8 p.m. the other night because she had a deadline. But like, she's like, I love being able to be like, all right, here's my 9 to 5. And then after hours, I can shut it off and not think about it. And she's like, we're just not built the same way. And I think that's healthy in a relationship where she looks at it like she has work-life balance, and I don't necessarily feel like I have that. So I've tried to like bring her and other family members into the fold of what we're doing in our business so they can understand, they can see it, they can see the vision themselves. So they're like, oh, I get why Corey's doing this, or I get why Ryan's doing that. And so the integration aspect has been big. It's not that easy to do because it's not like she wants to talk about business all the time, right? But I think that's really the only way to make it possible to grow a business. For example, I was at a wedding last night. This is going to come out in January, but I was just like being tough on myself, and I'm like, I don't really feel like I deserve this break right now. Like I don't like going and having a few drinks at a wedding. I was just like not in the mood to do it because I just like was frustrated with the progress that we were at in a specific aspect of our business. And I don't know how to fix that necessarily. I mean, I'm trying to work towards it, but that's the breakaway from the business has been, it's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to like say, I'm going to put my phone down and not think about it. But if your brain's running at 1,000 RPMs, it's hard to, even if you're not in doing the work, if you're thinking about it, it's like you don't really have the break. So that's a thing that I'm navigating, that we are too. And I've talked about it on previous podcasts, but it's like, I don't know if I'm any better at it than the last time we talked about it.
So if you've ever tried getting a mortgage, which I'm sure many of you have, you know how daunting and discouraging it can be of a process. The slow process, paperwork, being told no without any real explanation. One time we were even told that taking out a home equity line of credit on an investment property wasn't even possible. So that all changed when we were introduced to Neo Home Loans. What makes Neo different is literally how they approach lending. They're not just checking the boxes. They're legit problem solvers. They look at your entire financial picture and explore multiple angles, literally until they find a strategy that works. They helped us reposition our portfolio, pull out lines of credits to scale, and structure everything for long-term growth. And on top of that, their rates were some of the most competitive that we've seen. They just literally did whatever it takes to find a solution. For us, Neo has become our liability advisor. The same way you have a financial advisor on the asset side for the liabilities. If you're serious about building wealth through real estate, it's worth sitting down with them and getting your lending strategy dialed in. If you want to book a call with them, click the link in our show notes. Their team is unreal, but don't just take it from us. Find out for yourself.
I think it's just like an ongoing battle that'll continually evolve over time, like at every level of the game. Because, you know, it feels like even if you build a business bigger, you're going to then hire people to offset or offload
Your profit
some of
might
those
not be
tasks.
bigger, right? You know, like your take home by hiring more people too. So go ahead. Sorry. But
Not
yeah.
only that, but that's also other relationships you have to manage, just making it even more of a time suck. So there's just different aspects of this. There's no happy medium. I'd say like a perfect medium, but there I would say there is a happy medium. So I just want to give a little context for me. It's this whole like mantra thought, like I grew up and was born into a family of entrepreneurs. My dad owned a small business growing up, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She raised 3 boys. And so it was chaos in the house. Like we were just all beating each other up all the time. We had sports, we had all these things, right? But like my point is I got to see firsthand what like a version of work-life balance, entrepreneur life, like living in that was. And it was interesting. My dad's brothers both had small businesses as well. So they never had the 9-to-5 life. So I wasn't really even used to that. Like he would just get up at 6 a.m. He'd be gone. He'd come back at, 6 or 7 p.m. I forget exactly what it was like, but we rarely had dinners together, but he helped coach my sports teams and was present on the weekends. And like we would go to his shop, which was right down the road. Like he worked in town. So it wasn't like I had to wait for him to come home from a 9 to 5. Like he could stop in for lunch all the time, but it was just this random. It was not random. It was a much different feel that I think like some people had growing up where like their parents, like they clocked out, they clocked in, they came back at a specific time. They knew what to expect. I didn't really know what to expect. And like, it was just one of those things. And I think that was probably harder on my mom. Like I know it was harder on my mom because she was left with raising the kids and he was left with raising the business, but the business fueled the kids being able to have a great life. Right. And then they had to figure out their relationship and it all bled down to us. Right. And like, we're these little kids looking up and watching this all unfold. And I have to say, like, we had a great upbringing and I was trained to become a great human being from like treating other people how I want to be treated. But then also like, you're going to get a job at 14, dude. Like, I don't care if you have these, like an upper hand on some people in the world, like you're going to go see the value of $1. My dad was very specific about that. And so for me, I say like all these things let me be a fly on the wall, and it's now transpired where I always knew at some point or felt this pull towards like I would be an entrepreneur or like I would have some sort of stamp on some sort of business or like some revenue stream, right? And like it just evolved. I never thought it'd be real estate, never thought it would be, an online business, whatever it is, right? But I felt this pull, and now I just feel a little bit more equipped with this because, my dad told me, he's like, dude, in day one, he's like, I never thought I was going to be a great dad. I never really expected or thought to have a family, and your mom really wanted one. And I said to her, I was like, he's like, I am not good at this. Like, I know I'm not, but I'm going to try my best, but I'm going to run what I am really good at. And that's going and making something out of nothing and creating a great life for you guys. You just have to trust me on that. And I'm going to trust you to raise the family. And like, those are our lanes and we're just going to attack them. And then, there's like the blend in the middle. And so I saw that, and that doesn't work for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I think that could like lead to crumbling marriages. I think that could lead to, either the business failing or the kids failing, whatever it is. Right. But they figured it out, and I've been able to watch that firsthand. And now in my life, when I first met my wife, we met at, we were like 22 at the time. We were seniors in college. And like, I always told her, I was like, listen, I have this pull for something bigger. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like, and originally when we first met, like 6 months later after school, I go, I'm just letting you know, I'm going to like LA, I'm going to California. And like, I had kind of like an internship out there. It was like a study away program, but my intention was to stay out there and like, just, whether it be like work in film or work just like out on that coast. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, but we can try it. And we just like felt this pull towards each other. And we're like, we're just going to try to figure this out, blah, blah, blah. Corey, you witnessed this firsthand. But so the long and short of it is I ended up going out there, had a really cool job. And I was like, wow, like I definitely could stay out here. I like love it. But then she was back in Philly. I was like, damn, like, I don't know. I don't want to like give up this relationship. I feel like a stronger pull towards her versus that. So I ended up coming back, got a really cool job here, 9 to 5. But then during the 9 to 5, this is where you and I started living together. And we just started feeling this pull towards like, dude, we can't do this perpetual cycle till we're 67. Everyone knows the story of like the podcast starting and all that stuff. But my point is, I told my wife early on, we'll cut that part. I told my wife early on, I was like, I just need you to let me have this like flexibility to chase what I want to chase. And I'll do it on the East Coast with you, but it will not be, I don't think I'm going to be this 9 to 5 guy for the rest of my life. And that's going to come with certain things. And, she's like listening to it. She's like, I hear that. But then eventually when it comes, then it's not a surprise because we've talked about it. We, kind of go down the lanes of like starting the business. You get into like who's going to manage the money in the household, and then how do you navigate when kids come out and all these things. You plan for them. But my point is, all this stuff, I was the fly on the wall for my parents and watching my dad run the business, my mom run at home. And then we'll take it into this episode, but these little life lessons I learned along the way, I tried to find my own version of the work-life balance. And now I can ask all these questions to the other entrepreneurs that are in my life. Like, how did you navigate this? Like, when this has come up, is there such thing as a work-life balance? Do you have to push to the business at this point? Do you have to push more towards your family at this point? Like, what are the answers? And so my point is, like, when you can get around people that have done this and they've done it for a long period of time, you can ask them what worked and take little pieces of their story, put it into yours, but there's no perfect answer.
We've sought out people that like are living the life that we want to live, and it's not a lifestyle thing. It's more of just like a vision for the way that they live their life. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are running from monotony. I know I for sure am. Like it makes me like nauseous to think about like going to work and coming home and having the same Groundhog's Day every day. It's like I literally am like I'm getting like goosebumps thinking about it because I just don't like. That's what I'm running from. So to be able to block off our calendar on a Wednesday if we need to do something, like that's maybe what we're chasing as opposed to like the big fancy things. But one of the things I wanted to mention that your comments made me think is that there's just different ways to live your life. Like the way that I approach our business with my fiance is very different than the way that you approach it with your wife. Like she implicitly trusts you to like do what you're doing and doesn't really like want to know a lot of the inner details, where like I'm integrating my fiance into these things because I think that at the stage that we started our relationship, it's more so like you need to know all of this stuff about what we're doing, or it's like you're not going to get it when I'm not there for this particular time. You guys like grew up almost like teenagers to adults together, so it's different. But one of the things that I wanted to mention that I found interesting, and I don't know if we talked about this in the podcast, we went to a mastermind last year in Arizona, and there was like 30 mostly guys. There were a couple females there, but there are a bunch of entrepreneurs and very successful. We were like the poor babies in the room pretty much. But I noticed that you were the only married person there. And I thought to myself in that moment, I was thinking, not that these aren't our people, because they are, but we have to find people who are, as our goal is to get married and be married, stay married. The goal isn't to get married. The goal is to stay married, have kids, raise a family, the whole thing. It's like we have to find entrepreneurs who are doing that. Or else we'll get stuck in a cycle of, chasing the money, because these guys that were like really, really successful were like semi-broken in a way. Like they couldn't find a relationship. They couldn't find a person. So you have to surround yourself with the people who are doing what you want to do at the level that you want to do it, even if that means, to me, not having as much money. And I'm okay with that, because if there's this consistent chase into nothingness, it's going to be hard to like maintain your family and maintain the things that you actually want to do, and you want to grow with your partner, not separate. And that's something that I've like grappled with in the past couple years as our business has grown and my relationship has grown, and you and I have grown in different directions too, and we always come back to it. But I find that that opened my eyes too, because it's just the way you're talking about like your relationship with your wife and, her knowing enough to know that she trusts you. But like when we're out in the business world, like, I don't know if it's the best thing for us to be like in the rooms with the people that are like just growing for the sake of growing. And you were like the relationship advisor in that room. I felt it like, wow, out of these 30, 35 guys, you're the only person married. I'm like, ooh, is that like the entrepreneur way? I hope not. And then we found entrepreneurs that are doing it the way that we want to do it, and that's who you have to surround yourself with.
Hey, let me pause the episode real quick. Let me know if this sounds like you. You're making six figures, you're climbing the corporate ladder, investing in your 401k and your Roth IRA, and maybe even a brokerage account. But deep down, you're asking yourself, is this really it? Like, am I just going to do this thing for the next 30 years and hope to retire in my 60s? That was exactly us just a few years back. We were curious and excited about real estate, but overwhelmed and without a roadmap. If you fast forward to today, we've built a portfolio of over 80 cash flowing units and grown our net worth to over $2 million. We made it our mission to help busy professionals like you take that same leap and start building generational wealth for yourself and your family. That's exactly why we created the Wealth Juice Inner Circle, a private real estate investing community designed to help you get your first rental property under your belt in as little as 90 days. Inside, you'll get direct access to us, our full investing network, private off-market deals, and our exact playbook, and a community of investors who are closing deals every single week. That first property changed everything for us. We always talk about it. It was the true foundation for building generational wealth. And honestly, if we had access to something like this when we first started, we'd be 10 times further along by now. So if this sounds just like you, click the link in our show notes and schedule a call with me. Yes, me. I'll be taking the calls. We'll go over your goals, map out a plan, and get you ready to close your first deal. Let's get it.
To be honest, it's very difficult given the amount of time, energy, and attention you have to give your business, especially if you don't have a partner. Imagine doing this all on your own, right? That, and then, having a significant other, it's very hard because you're raising this thing from nothing. Like we're literally creating something out of thin air, right? Like this is like our own baby that we're nurturing. That's the business, right? And you want it just to flourish and be the best version because it's a piece of you. And that provides you your livelihood and the freedoms to do the things that you want. And so it's just a very interesting thing that you want to protect the business, but then you want to protect the people that are along the journey with you. And so my wife and I, it's really interesting. Like we just good perspective because we both, you and I like have seen each other grow in all these different directions. But we had a conversation, her and I, and like, it's really important to understand the other person's dreams. Like really, she was simple in a way of, hey, the traditional like American dream, if you will, the white picket fence, like she just wants to raise a family, have a comfortable home, doesn't need to live lavishly, just wants to spend time with the people that are in her very close bubble and just like live a happy life, like a very simple life. And me, on the other hand, like I've always felt this pull to something bigger. And I don't know what that was, but I just have had it in me, meaning like bigger experiences, like challenging myself to be like the biggest version of myself that I possibly can. And I don't know what that means, and it probably is going to come off weird, but I was like, I always thought I would like help a ton of people or like stamp my name into something. And maybe that's like maybe it's like the alpha male in a male, right? Like just like, hey, I need to be successful. I need to
ego in a way, right?
Ego.
Like,
yeah. And maybe that's for good, for bad. I don't know. But to me, I think it's the competitor that comes out in me. I'm like and you and I both, that's probably why we get along so well. Like we're super competitive and we just like, I think about this as a game. And sometimes you get too addicted to the game and you're like wrapped up in it. And then, the family and like the things that feel like more steady or smaller at some points, they get cast to the wayside, and that's something that can't happen. And my point in bringing this up is, I kind of went a lot of directions there, but my point is, my wife and I sat down and I asked her dreams, and like I had to know what she wanted, right? And I was like, as long as we can travel a couple times a year, like I'm present with the family, raising a family, having kids, and like having the small town like world and vibe, that's what she wants. And I'm like, I also do like that too. I like the steadiness of that. I am a homebody, but I do like these bigger. I like having something that I can be proud of and wake up and super excited for that's outside of like the 9-to-5 world. And then the trips and all that too. But I also like meeting the people that we're talking to. Like I loved, dude, I told you, I finally felt like we were like in the spot we were supposed to be in when we went to the mastermind, like meeting all these entrepreneurs, and they were doing similar things to us. Granted, I was the only one married. I didn't really think about that too much, but it's interesting your perspective on that too. But my point is, bring this all back. Now, all of this stuff that we're doing, it's helping me let my wife fulfill her dream too. Like she has told me, she's like, you've already let me, fulfill most of my dreams and all the things that I've ever wanted to do. And that to me fuels me, right? Like I'm using that dream and my family as fuel to keep going and doing my thing. And also like, it allows her to let me go do it and trust me on certain aspects. Like what you're doing is helping me live what I want to live. And so now I'm going to do things to make your life easier so you can go live and feel happy. She's like, I just want you to feel happy and feel fulfilled and all this because you've already done so much for me. And that's really cool. And don't get me wrong. We disagree on a lot of things and like it's normal stuff, but to be able to have the business that allows me to fulfill that void in my life or what I'm chasing and her void in her life and what she's chasing, it just allows us to continue to push forward. And so if I can't be present all the time at home, like if we have to lean into the business more heavy on certain times, she understands why, as long as communication's high and you're like telling that person why you're doing things and laying out the pros and cons of it. I think if you're consumed by it and you're dead between the eyes and the lights off when you're with your family, I think it's all a wash because like, what's the point of it? Like this whole thing could go away and then you're just the people that really need you and that you're building this for if they don't feel any connection there and you lose that relationship, like what's the point?
Exactly. We were using and attempting to use family as a fuel, not a distraction from what we're doing. And like, it's Saturday right now. Like, it's Saturday. We're recording these podcast episodes. And I think that, it maybe happened to be a Saturday where we're able to do this, and we're not doing this every single Saturday, but like I'm being mindful of that. And I think that, the whole balance being a myth thing is just, I just want people to like let that sink in. And you've created the level of communication that I think needs to happen. This isn't like a relationship podcast, right? But I talk to a lot of people that want to buy real estate, that want to come into our community, and then they say like, I got to go talk to my wife, or I got to go talk to my husband, and they shoot it down. And my only thought process in that is, well, maybe one, you don't trust yourself, that's fine too, but the two is like, it would really suck to have to go to my significant other and for her or him or whatever it is, whoever you are, for them to not see the vision that you want to achieve. And then you have to convince that person. It's like, I'm not here to tell you that you're with the wrong person. I'm just saying that like, I'm blessed, and I think we are, that we've felt like we've chosen the right people who like fully believe in what we're doing. And because we have bad days too, like, even just this month, I was having a conversation with her, and she's reassuring me that this is the right thing, like you're doing the right thing. And I think it's just, people use family as like, I'm doing this all for my family, and they never even ask for the things that you think that you're doing for them. So just make sure that high level of communication is happening with your family, so that that is actually what they want too. And it's not just the significant others. It's like, I had this goal on this podcast. I've said it a number of times, to help pay off my dad's mortgage. I think I've said it on the podcast, but if I haven't, I'm saying it now. So there you go, stamp that. But to help him ride off in the sunset. And then my mom texted me the other day, and she's like, you need to call your dad. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, if I'm not present with him, why would he care that I'm helping him pay off his mortgage? So I think even we sometimes lose sight of that. And it's like, our family is so important to us. We're trying all the time to like fill all the voids and keep it all up. And I don't think we're perfect at it. I think that's why we're having this podcast episode, to let people know that we're not perfect at it. But if you don't feel the pull, and you don't feel the pull for more, and like the obsession in a way, I don't think you should be an entrepreneur. So there's that. Because I think you're just going to like run into too many roadblocks to take you away from the business. So finding the best way to integrate your family into your business. Like, we hired my brother, for example, for a little while. Yeah. And he got moved on to bigger and better things in terms of like his career, but I wanted him to be involved. And now he just asked me to invest with him. It wasn't a ton of money, into an investment opportunity that is just like to help him in his life. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool that he knows enough about what we're doing that he would want to ask me about these things. So I think, maybe I'm rambling a little bit, but I want people to hear that like, we're imperfect. Everyone listening to this podcast is imperfect, but the more that you communicate at a high level to the people that you love, and that I think is going to make for the most successful entrepreneurial ventures, that they have to know enough about what you're doing and why you're doing it, or else you'll potentially lose sight of it and dive into this deep cavern of work that's not even for the things that you originally set them out to be.
Yeah, and just know they're part of the journey. They need to know that. And I think, it's important that for my wife and I, like her love language is acts of service, right? And like, that's something where I'm like, I don't really care about at all. Like, I think like mine's like touch or whatever it is. And so like I like hugs, whatever. But like, it's just funny. So yeah, that'd be like,
Terry,
like,
you got to give this guy a hug.
Come on, dude, give me a hug, Terry. But it's just funny. Like, I don't think about the acts of service, but she does so much for our family, that like things she's consciously thinking about on a daily basis, like to keep things organized and clean and make sure my life is easy. It can come to a point where like, if I'm not recognizing that and thanking for that and showing her how much that impacts what we're doing here as the business too, that could lead to a problem. So my point is like, really having open lines of communication with the people that mean the most to you, and like, and letting them know they're part of the journey is super important. And I know, I kind of made a lot about the significant other, because I think that's a balance for a lot of people. And they're like, well, how the heck do you guys balance it? It's like, just being open about as much as you possibly can and letting them know how important they are. But there's the other side of things too, is like you mentioned, it's your mom, your dad, your brothers, your siblings, like all that stuff too. Like, that can't go to the wayside. So there's just different ways about this. Like, my brothers live in different sides of the world. Like we're in Philly. One of my brothers is up in Massachusetts. The other one's in Tampa. So we're far away from each other, but we're super close. We have a text chain. We're always on. But then the only way we can like hang out and have fun together, right? Like is to jump on video games and like play whatever the game is that the other one is super into at that point, because then we can hop on the headsets, talk, catch up on life, have some fun together. And some people be like, well, dude, that's like that, you're spending less time on your business because what are you going to play video games? Like, they're not understanding the point. It's not like I'm going to just like spend 6 to 8 hours on a video game. It's like, dude, 2 to 3 hours over the course of the week, or a night or two during the week to keep in touch with my brothers, to have fun, and like to still be humans in this rat race that everybody's in. It's important. And so I think it's like finding those little things, whatever it is. Now, like, my younger brother, he runs like a vintage clothing company. He left his W-2 and just went all in on himself like 5 years ago. And he's doing his thing down there. And I know nothing about vintage, dude, but I support him every ounce of the way. He wanted $500 to start his website. Dude, done. Take it. I don't care. I don't need you to pay me back. Or you need, you're selling shirts. I pop on your Whatnot stream. I'm going to be the one that's buying some of your shirts. You invest in your people. And not like he's been renting for a long time, and we have connections down in Tampa. I'm like, dude, when you're ready, like, I will help you buy this property. And so we put together a side savings account joint for he and I. It's very cool. We're like, I don't want to like give all the information about him. If he's listening, he'd probably be like bummed that I'm helping him. But my point is, like, there's little bonuses. If he puts X amount in, I'll match him this amount. So I feel like I can give him the connections we've built and use some of my expertise and energy that I've put into our business to help him level up his life. And that's the coolest stuff ever. To be able to do that and become like, help be an answer to your circle and your people. Hopefully that doesn't come off as like an ego thing, but I love being of service to the people around me, because they don't realize just being in their presence helps me to keep chugging along in my life. And I think that's similar to your dad.
Yeah, it is. So that goes to like, what do we actually like to do for, this is like, how do we integrate this? And that was a great example. I didn't know that you were doing that. I think that, I've always wanted to be the person that my family leaned on for, like, it's not just financial, but it's just like, Corey will help me in any of these scenarios. And my sister and my brother-in-law bought a house in the Catskills that they're renovating, and like I was connecting them with the right agent, talking to them about insurance. They had like a big insurance claim. Like I just want to be the person that people go to in this, and this is the integration too. So I think that how can you take this information and like use it in your life? All right. So what? Have some intentionality with it. I have found that if my phone is on me, I'm working, no matter where I am. So that's a challenge for me. So like if my phone is in my presence, if I can see it, I will check it. I have an addiction to it. So what do I do in terms of like a reset? Like, it sucks because we're recording this in December and it's 27 degrees outside, so I can't golf. But golf is like a great mental reset to go out there and play. It also is a relationship builder. So I don't use my phone at all when I'm golfing. The gym has been hard because I have like music on my phone. So sometimes I am working there, but the gym has been great. But if I don't have my phone in front of me, I can really actually be fully present with the people around me. So for me, that's what works. Putting my phone on Do Not Disturb and moving it out of the room and being there with those people. Like I mentioned last night about going to this wedding and I wasn't really into it. And I was like trying to get this investment thing like wrapped up before the wedding, and I was texting about it, and then I had somebody that was supposed to join the community that said they didn't want to, and I was just like, all right, like I need to like reset. And I was on my phone at the beginning of the night, and then I put it away, and I had like a deep breath of like, all right, like you just need to like, everything here is so finite, like you just need to enjoy this moment in this wedding. And I had a great time, whatever, but like removing yourself from the technology has been a challenge. But if I do it, I actually become, that's the only time I'm actually present. So that's an example of one of the things to do. And then like traveling and going to different places with the people that you love and actually removing yourself from the technology again, because it's not like if you're traveling, you're not on Wi-Fi, like you can. So you can be plugged in as much as you want, but time blocking and letting yourself have moments where you're not, I think is like, if that's what I'm truly trying to get back to. And I'm not really good at it. So that's just like a couple of key takeaways for people that are listening. Like you're probably listening on your phone or driving or whatever, but like take intentional time away. But if you integrate the right way, you don't have to feel like you're getting behind by doing that. And that's I mean, that's just something that I'm personally trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's a great one. Another one too is like, obviously it comes first with putting your phone down, and in the easiest way to do this is just put, like, the easiest solve for a lot of this is to put your phone away, because your social life's connected to your phone, your business life is connected to your phone, and then, you know, just the deep ether of vortex of social media is on your phone too, right? All these things. So if you just put it away, you can live in the moment, but it's really hard because then your brain's still chugging. So just another tip, what I've learned to try to do. Corey and I ask so many questions on the podcast. We're just genuinely curious people. So it's super easy to come on here for an hour and me to ask, you know, entrepreneurs questions, because I just want to know how they got to a level of success. What I try to do is now do that into my real life. So when my phone's away, but like say you go to a family party and you're like, man, like not really feeling this party right now, and you get sucked into a conversation, it's like just trying to pepper that person with as many questions as you possibly can so that you're out of your own head and they're telling you all their stuff. You're just like, it allows you to kind of like dissipate and kind of go to a flat level again where like you're not thinking about your business, and then you can go, you know, do that to other people. Now
you realize that those other people are dealing with their own issues and their own problems, and they're living their life. I did the exact thing last night, and I think that's going back to like being the most interested person in the room as opposed to being the most interesting, like trying to be that. You just ask these questions of these people, and like you make them feel like, oh cool, this person, like that's what we've gained from the podcast is like learning about people, and like, oh, they're actually interested. They care about what I'm doing. That's the relationships. But go ahead.
You nailed it. It's that. And like, I would just say, stop taking life so serious. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, a lot of this stuff doesn't actually matter. Like, I know you got to pay your bills. I know you like have to, you know, to have like to keep up with some of these freedoms, like money comes into this thing. But like, there's just so many things where I feel like back in the day, I would just try to appear a certain way or like appease a certain person. I'm at the point, and I think it's only having come being a dad at this point where like my world kind of got flipped upside down, and it's allowing me to be the kid inside again, just like a complete goofball, and like watching my daughter run around and just like talk about her Paw Patrol guys. I get to show her Pokemon. I get to show her Batman and like all these things that I loved growing up, and like it's bringing me all the way back. Like we sat and watched like, you know, over the course of a couple of days, like we spread it out. Trust me, we're trying to not do a ton of screen time, but like watching the first couple episodes of Pokemon again from the 90s, like I used to collect the cards, still do, by the way, I invest in them, but I collecting the cards, watching the show, like it just brought me back to like the happiness that I had as a kid. And I remember like loving this specific thing, and to be able to like show her that and watch her run around and be a goofball and just talk about random things, and like all these sentences are stringing along and she has real thoughts. She's a real human. And like, that's a hobby to me now. Like I just love spending time with her. Like people are like, well, what do you like to do? And it's funny, I mentioned I'm probably the nerd in the relationship of Corey and I. Like, I like playing video games. I like collecting cards. I like spending time doing anything with my daughter. I don't care if it's watching TV. I don't care if it's running around in the backyard. I don't care if it's going to her gymnastics class. Whatever it is, like just watching her grow and be. That's what I love. And then the rest of it's like, as our business and like the competitiveness within that, like go to the gym, challenge myself, stay healthy for my family, for myself, like make sure I'm in shape, because there's like a pride in that. And then just trying to take your relationships to the next level. There's so much in that you like think about others a lot. It's hard to think about yourself in ways. And like when someone asked me like what I like to do, like I was like, man, like I listing off all these things. Like I do like to golf. I do like to do this, but like, what do I like really care about? And like, it all comes back to, you know, really you're spending time with my daughter. Like that's my new favorite fun thing. And that's been the last like 2 years. It's really hard, but really cool. And so it's not for everybody, but my point is like things change. Don't lose sight of the kid in you and chase that excitement. I love traveling, seeing the world. I think that's just another thing. I wanted to like get into who we are a little bit in this episode, just to unpack it. Like Corey and I both like to see what's out there. You know, you're just a number, you know, this time is finite, and like to go experience a different culture, different food, different people, and realize you're like, whoa, like Philadelphia is very small. I grew up in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is very small. Like going to Greece, going to Italy, going to Spain, going to Rome, like all these places. And I probably like London. Like my favorite trip of the whole world was going to with my buddies. In 2017, we went to Iceland. I went with my brother and like 3 of my buddies from work, and I felt like I was on a different planet. Like it was like driving around, like one day it was snowing, one day it was sunny, we were on a black sand beach, a deserted airplane, like we were hiking mountains, snowmobiling. I was like climbing up a mountain. It was like the coolest thing ever, and I've never forgot that. I'm like, dude, that meant so much to you. That had nothing to do with your phone. that had nothing to do with any type of dollars. I mean, it costs you dollars to get out there, but you were just living, and you're having conversations with people and memories. And so if I can just say anything to people over time, like my experience in this world is like, I value investing in buying experiences now. It used to be the material thing. Like Corey and I have bought the fancy cars. We've bought the nice clothes, the Jordans, the whatever it is, right? Like we've upgraded the phones, we upgraded the stuff. It gives you a quick hit, but those experiences last forever. Like I can remember all the times I went on these amazing vacations, all the people I was with, the conversations that were had, or the games that I went to. I never remember the score. I remember the conversations and the experience. And I think that it's taken a lot of time to get to that space, and you tell your younger self that, and younger self doesn't care. Like, I don't think I could go back and tell my younger self, like, this will fulfill you, but it does. And so, I know it's a little bit of a soapbox, but that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great. I think it's, the reason that we do the podcast is to give you an insight into what we're thinking about, even just if it's random thoughts about our life and business and integration. And that's what this episode was about. So keep in mind, I mean, like, you can do it all, man. You can go buy the real estate. You can live a fulfilling life. You can have a W-2 job. You can be an entrepreneur. There's a billion ways to live this life. Just remember that if you have a strong enough why and you have the people that you're doing it for, I've said this on a couple episodes before, but it's not about the journey or the destination. It's about the company. And that's the thing that I consistently try to remind myself about whenever I'm doing anything. It's like, is this going to help the people around me? Is this going to fulfill me, allowing me to spend more time with those people and do those experiences? So you'll hear it from us a number of times. Like, it's not like we don't want nice things, but we're just going to continue to plug away, to prioritize people in our lives. And we're going to continue to buy real estate and build a business as well. But sometimes it's good to reflect on why we're doing it all.
100%. I think I'll just leave you with, it's, balance sometimes seems unrealistic, and I think it is in a lot of ways. Like, sometimes you have to lean heavier into one aspect of your life. Sometimes you have to live
seasons of life, right?
Seasons of life. It's 100% true. Open lines of communication and integrating those people that mean a lot to you into your life and letting them know what they mean to you will help you in the long run. And I just think you should focus on the word integration. Like, how can you weave everybody in to make sure that they are still thought about? Give your mom a call. If you have to set a calendar invite to yourself on a specific day of the week, however you keep organized, like, call your people, check in with them, make sure everybody's good. Like, just because you're, nose to the grindstone, taking things down and trying to become the best version of yourself, other people are also doing the same thing, and they're thinking about you when you don't realize you're thinking about them, or you don't realize they're thinking about you. And a simple call to your mom could make her entire week, because the baby that she raised no longer lives with her and may be living out of state. And it's just, I think about these things and it makes me sad sometimes. And I think we all are just like trying to chase the next thing and trying to make the best life possible for ourselves. But make sure the people that have impacted you and helped you in a positive way and that are still in your life, like, just
let them know.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry. Thanks, dude. Oh yeah. That's the end of the episode. So thanks for tuning in.
See you next week.
See ya.
Before we wrap this show up, I want to leave you with this. If you're listening to the show, chances are you're doing pretty well in your career. You're making maybe 6 figures. You're putting money into your retirement accounts, maybe stacking some cash in a brokerage account, but you're still waiting for that next level. And here's the truth. Waiting just costs you time. Every month you're on the sidelines is another month you could have had a property paying you and another step closer to financial freedom that you didn't take. Ryan and I know this because we stayed on the sidelines too long. We talk about this sometimes. We had the money, but not the guidance. And once we finally got our first property, everything shifted. It was the catalyst that built our entire portfolio and ultimately gave us freedom. And that's exactly why we built the Wealth Juice Inner Circle, to cut out wasted time, just give you the exact blueprint and surround you with a network of people who are closing deals every single week. So if you're tired of waiting and you're ready to finally get your first deal, click the link in the show notes and schedule a call with me. Let's map out your strategy and get you moving before another year slips by.